The English learner population continues to grow across the country, but questions remain over what the future of their education will look like as a new administration takes power in Washington. For example, President-elect Donald Trump has promised mass deportations. How would that impact schools? And how much will the new Secretary of Education prioritize and invest in programs that serve English learners but also promote multilingualism for all students? Here are just a few of the topics that we'll be looking at in the new year at Education Week. It's important to note that most English learners in American schools are U.S. citizens born in this country, but many are immigrants with various legal statuses, including some students who are undocumented. And when students have legal statuses, many times they come from families with mixed immigration statuses. So how would promises of mass deportation from President-elect Trump impact schools and these families in particular? Well, for more than a decade, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security has considered schools to be sensitive locations or protected areas. What this essentially means is that immigration officers are much less likely to conduct any arrests or other enforcement actions at school sites. And in 2021, the Biden administration actually expanded that policy to include locations like childcare centers, bus stops, and after-school programs. Now, this policy was in place during the first Trump administration, but Trump can rescind it as soon as his first day in office. There are laws on the books that protect student privacy and security, but how changes to immigration enforcement policies would affect students, families, and schools is something that we'll be keeping an eye on. We'll also be looking out for any state or federal legislative changes that challenge a long-standing precedent that guarantees undocumented students the right to a free public education. This right came out of a 1982 U.S. Supreme Court decision in a case known as Plyler v. Doe. Now, some conservative advocates have already outlined a strategy to bring this issue back before the U.S. Supreme Court with the hopes of overturning the Plyler v. Doe decision. We'll see if any of these plans come to fruition. And of course, we'll continue to look at language education, whether that's dual language immersion programs that specifically serve English learners, and more. Outgoing Education Secretary Miguel Cardona championed the idea of multilingualism for all. And 2024 marked the year when all 50 states and the District of Columbia officially offer high school graduates a seal of biliteracy honoring their multilingualism. But we are far from every student in the U.S. being multilingual, and there's still a lot of work to do in terms of improving the services for English learners who are acquiring the English language and accessing grade-level academic content. How much the new Secretary of Education will invest in all of this remains to be seen. For more information on this coverage and future coverage, be sure to check out our work at edweek.org.